Moreover, even though I think life in the temple is good, it doesn't mean that the outside is not good. There is no place that is perfect or useless. Temples are not a vacuum environment either. Life and death, impermanence, good and evil, beauty and ugliness, unattainability, resentment and hatred, love and separation, and so on can all be seen in this world. Someone once asked the Grand Master what he thought of young people like me who quit their jobs in big cities and come to temples. The master shook his head and said, "Live as you want the most, not as you are seen by others, become the person you want the most, don't compare yourself with others, find your own value and meaning." When I was in Beijing, I didn't go to bed until 1 or 2 in the morning almost every day. It's common to go to bed at 4 or 5 on weekends. Of course, I have also tried adjustments, such as eating melatonin, using lavender essential oil, making white noise, listening to the sound of a water pump in a fish tank, and even Gang's crosstalk, but they were not very useful. Before arriving at the temple, I was worried that I might not get used to the routine here. However, on the first night, I fell asleep at around 10 o'clock and slept very comfortably. I have been here for 2 years, and my changes are evident to all. My lifestyle has improved, my body has improved, I have visibly relaxed a lot, and my smile often hangs on my face. More importantly, I am now able to learn certain skills without utilitarianism, try new things, such as understanding end-of-life care, and experience 10 days of enlightenment under the guidance of professional teachers. Many people are curious about my work and living environment, and my salary is naturally not comparable to that of a big internet company, nor is it as high as my income when I was in the media. However, I am fully inclusive of food and accommodation, and my expenses have decreased significantly compared to before. Our accommodation environment is also very good. The staff consists of 2 rooms with independent bathrooms, while the volunteers live in multiple rooms with independent bathrooms and air conditioning inside. There is a misunderstanding among the outside world about temples, thinking that people inside will be disconnected from society. In fact, in the era of the internet, if it were not for living in deep mountains and forests, or cutting off contact with the outside world independently, as long as there is a mobile phone, it would not be disconnected. Moreover, in a temple that excels in meditation courses, when the masters give lectures on cutting-edge technologies such as ChatGPT, and social hot topics such as Raging Storm by Gao Qiqiang, they are all effortless. At the beginning of the year, there was a heated discussion online about young people only getting incense without making progress, and a friend asked me what I thought. I said, is it only young people who apply incense? Why is young people's incense magnified? This actually proves that young people don't want to lie flat, and still have aspirations and pursuits for the future. Incense is just a form of releasing pressure. Who doesn't work hard while applying incense? Master once explained the act of worshipping Buddha and praying for blessings, and I fully agree with it. In fact, when we worship Buddha and pray, we are placing orders for ourselves and telling ourselves to do it. We call this wish the power of wish. If there is a great God in the world who can help us achieve our dreams, that God is ourselves. On the path of life, placing orders for ourselves, and then practicing them, following the law of cause and effect, is the right path. Along with the trend of offering incense, there is also the trend of temple volunteers. Looking at it from a different perspective, is it not that young people are trying to control their own lives? Based on my observation, these young people who come to the temple as volunteers are generally not very old, have a high level of education, and have some glamorous career experiences. However, many people are facing confusion. When they come to the temple, the physical difficulties cannot be solved by the Buddha, and the emotional comfort can be helpful to some extent. Based on their personal strengths, hobbies, and departmental needs, volunteers mainly engage in light physical and mental labor. Those who enjoy exposure to nature can go to the vegetable garden, those who enjoy reading can go to the library, those who are interested in tea can go to the tea room, those who enjoy cooking can go to the kitchen, and those who enjoy being exposed to nature can also learn a few vegetarian dishes. In my opinion, whether it's offering incense or volunteering, young people actually come with their own answers, just out of fear of the unknown and lack of confidence, or shaken by the guidance of others. The environment of temples can help them regain their original intention through introspection. A volunteer used to work on a top short video platform and deeply disliked the working atmosphere of that company. Over time, he even developed resistance to life itself. After arriving at the temple, he realized that his resistance gradually decreased and began to realize that he might also be able to do something to give to others. Everyone often says to live in the present, but how many living beings in office buildings can live in the present? It's normal to talk about work while eating, but in a temple, eating is just about eating. You don't have to think about anything else, but you can sense the taste of the food itself. Many people, including myself, think that fast food is delicious. I have also consulted my senior brother from Wugwantang, who specializes in stir-frying dishes. His answer is very zen-like: if you calm down, eating naturally tastes good. One of the values of a temple is to make everyone remember that what we can do is not just to put in labor, but to know that we still have compassion and compassion. The path of life is inevitably bumpy. From ancient times to the present, temples have been special psychological clinics. Some things are difficult to talk about with people around, or you can find familiar volunteers to chat with, or drink tea to talk to your master, or you can confide the difficult words to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the hall. Being alone may also give you insights. Finding peace in a fast-paced environment, living a concrete life, drinking a cup of tea, having a meal, reading when you want to read, and daydreaming when you want to daydream, is an emotional value that temples can provide. Why can temples become a safe haven? Perhaps it is because there is no conflict of interest among everyone, and there is a temple to support their lives. Volunteer temples provide food and accommodation, coupled with a relatively kind and friendly group of people, and an inclusive environment that individuals will not feel like they are different. But this place may not be suitable for everyone. Not everyone's troubles can be solved here. Some people come and walk happily, while others come and walk happily. No matter where you are, you should take the initiative to find a solution on your own, rather than waiting for the outside world to help you solve it. For the Iron Camp and Flowing Soldiers, we are all passers-by to the temple, and I am no exception. My friends often ask me how long I plan to stay, and I say it's fate. After graduating from university, it is rare to have such an opportunity and atmosphere to apply what I have learned in my daily life and work. I have lived up to this period of time, and it would be even better if I had the opportunity to share it with friends and colleagues. Of course, no matter what kind of life, we all have common issues to answer. Such as our relationship with the times, how to settle down in uncertainty, and how to hold onto our inner selves. I really appreciate a quote from Mr. Hijawu: "Life is all about writing your name on water." China has sparked a temple craze. Between going to work and striving for excellence, I chose to pray. Between going to work and striving for success, young people choose to burn incense. Behind the online jokes is the temple fever that has sparked in recent years. Just after 5 o'clock in the morning, many urbanites were still asleep when the sound of temple boards rang out. Don't underestimate this piece of wooden board. There are also considerations when fighting it. After striking the board, the bells and drums of the drum tower rang alternately. With these sounds, the temple gradually awakened, and I also began to get up and wash up. Usually, around the end of the morning bell, I would go outside the main hall and sometimes meditate. In simple terms, it is a natural and relaxed walk, aware of each step, meditating by walking, sometimes stopping to look at the lotus in the stone jar, and sometimes simply daydreaming. At around 5:45, I entered the main hall and took my position, attending morning classes with all my masters and brothers. The morning class lasts for about 45 minutes and mainly consists of reciting sutras, such as the Shurangama mantra and the 10 little mantra. The 1st and 15th days of each lunar month start early at 5:30 p.m. For volunteers and staff like me, morning classes are voluntary. Those who do not want to participate can go to the square in front of the hall to practice Tai Chi, stand stakes in the garden, or go for a morning run or walk. Of course, you can also choose not to wake up so early and go to breakfast by sleeping a little longer. At 6:50, it is the morning fast time in the temple. Usually, different congee and mantu are used as the main food, with vegetables and salted vegetables. Sometimes, soybean milk, deep-fried dough sticks, vegetarian steamed buns, vegetarian pies, etc. are used as the adjustment. After taking a break from eating too early, I went to work. When I first came to the temple, I worked in the library. As an amateur, I worked as a film projectionist in the temple. Later, I went to the central axis for a short time to be responsible for the hall sanitation. Now, I am responsible for the official account and photography of the temple in the culture and publicity department. In addition to ensuring daily updates, the official account will also release some temple news and daily activities. As for working hours, the mornings are from 7:30 a.m. to 11:20 a.m. before fasting, and the afternoons are from 2 a.m. to 4:50 p.m. before fasting. Occasionally, there are extra shifts after fasting, and there is ample time for strolling, picking up packages, and taking a nap at noon. Thanks to my previous practice in the media, my work at the temple can be said to be very skillful. My diet and schedule have become fixed and healthy, with regular meals and breaks, a slower work pace, and fewer unexpected events that disrupt plans, giving me a long-lost sense of control over life. When I was in the library, I interacted with wisdom, both ancient and modern, both domestic and foreign. If I was interested, I would take it off the bookshelf to read. Afterwards, I will be responsible for the hygiene outside the main hall. During Buddhist ceremonies, I will work while listening to the singing of my masters. I will also listen to the chirping of birds and the sound of the wind, think about problems, or let myself go. Nowadays, the cultural and propaganda department is close to the water and has the opportunity to take classes and participate in activities. Learning something is not only beneficial, but more importantly, it broadens one's horizons. By the way, not having to clock in is a major feature of working in temples. Buddhism emphasizes putting one's heart into work, and extends it to work, fully believing that everyone can complete their work on time. At mealtime, except for special positions such as gatekeepers and tea houses, everyone else will come to the Wugwantang Zhaitang on time to dine. Even if there are still unfinished tasks, they will put them aside and go eat first. After all, eating in a temple is also very sophisticated, with accompanying rituals, and the food will not wait for you like takeout. Before using chopsticks during the morning and noon fasting periods, everyone will recite a section of the Two Seasons Feast ceremony. Our temple will also recite a selection of traditional culture, sometimes in the form of analects, and sometimes in the form of group books on important topics. Wuzhai is the most sumptuous meal among the 3 meals, usually consisting of 4 dishes and 1 soup, sometimes accompanied by some fruits. Zongzi and moon cakes are distributed in festivals such as the Dragon Boat Festival, and the Mid-Autumn Festival, and lotus seeds picked from the lotus pond in the temple are distributed in summer. Fresh lotus seeds are very delicious, and the lotus heart is not bitter. During late fasting, most departments have finished work. After work, everyone can freely arrange their time and go out to the temple for a stroll, but they must come back before 6:30 p.m. Our temple will stop opening to the public at 4:30 p.m., close the temple gate at 6:30 p.m., and postpone it to 9 p.m. every Sunday. In the evening, the temple will hold a variety of activities, such as screening a movie once a week, classic films such as The End of Happiness, Beautiful Life, and The Pianist at Sea, as well as new films from recent years such as I Love You. There are 2 weekly lectures by mages, and experience classes such as tea parties, book clubs, and yoga are held irregularly. People who enjoy being alone can also go to the library to read books or go to meditation halls. At 8:30 p.m., the 10-minute evening drum began, followed by a 20-minute clock. At 9 o'clock, the sound of playing the board resumed, reminding everyone not to stay outside and to return to the dormitory early to rest. After all, I'm a young man, and I can't sleep at 9 o'clock. I usually read books, official account, chat with my family and friends at night, and have a rest at about 10:30. After such a day, the temple woke up to the sound of boards, bells, and drums, and then fell silent amidst these sounds. The temple where I am located was first built during the Yuan dynasty, and was repeatedly burned by war. The temple was converted for other purposes. In 2002, the temple began reconstruction and currently covers an area of over 160 acres. Due to its emphasis on education and promotion of traditional culture, the incense fire here naturally cannot compare to traditional temples, but it also appears quiet. What first moved me was the library here. Simple Chinese decoration, with solid wood desks, chairs, bookcases and large French window, can accommodate more than 50 people to read at the same time. The library has a collection of nearly 20,000 books, with a continuous increase of nearly 100 books per month. In addition to essential Buddhist scriptures, the collection of books also includes astronomical geography, political history, and economics, domestic and foreign classics, as well as magazines such as Sanlian Life Weekly, China National Geographic, Science Fiction World, and Global Science. Every month, new books are purchased by senior brothers in the circulation department according to the book list issued by the master. The current scale of the library is closely related to the master. In temples, people refer to monks as masters and abbots as great masters or monks. Master Da is in his early 50s this year. After graduating from the Buddhist Academy, he was hired as a librarian and other positions at the Putua Mountain Buddhist Academy. He later obtained an EMBA degree from Shanghai Jiaotong University and is currently pursuing a doctoral degree. Master Da was born in the 1970s when books were still scarce. When he was a child, he borrowed a book from a classmate. At first, the classmate refused, but the master father begged repeatedly before borrowing a book. After reading, the master smoothed out the corners of the book one by one and pressed them flat with bricks. The student who was moved lent the entire box of books to the master, and he became interested in reading from then on. In the view of Grand Master, temples should create such a place where people can read books and have conversations with their hearts when they have free time. In his plan, the library will be expanded to 5,000 or 6,000 square meters in the future and open to everyone. In summer, there is air conditioning, and in winter, there is underfloor heating. You can read books, meditate, copy scriptures, practice calligraphy, and go online. Even if you are tired from browsing, you can come in and drink some water to rest. The masters treat people very humbly. Once, I met my master in the elevator, and when we reached the first floor, I clasped my hands and asked him to come out first, but he gestured for me to come first. As soon as he stepped out of the elevator, he saw several waiting senior brothers outside. The master stood aside and blocked the elevator door with his hands, inviting all senior brothers to enter. One afternoon, I was sweeping fallen leaves in front of the main hall when my master passed by and saw me sweating profusely. He came over to greet me, folded his hands together and slightly bent down, saying, "Thank you for your hard work. I'm actually a bit ashamed. Compared to my senior brothers in vegetable gardens and gardens, I only occasionally bask in the sun. In the temple, non-monks like me, regardless of gender or age, are all referred to as senior brothers. Among them, there are students preparing for the postgraduate entrance examination, international students who were unable to go abroad due to the epidemic, a few former programmers from large companies, middle-aged people who have gone bankrupt, former securities traders, yoga instructors, HR. Not long ago, we bid farewell to a senior brother who used to be a programmer at a certain mobile phone manufacturer. His long-term high-intensity work had exhausted his health. He has been working in the temple for almost 3 years, during which he became interested in traditional Chinese medicine. This time, he went down the mountain to better study medical skills. Some people see this as a transit point for rest between schools and society. Someone who has meditated feels great, and wants to share this feeling with others who come to the temple. Someone's business has failed, and wants to use this to press the pause button. There was a person who came here to prepare for the postgraduate entrance examination. His master took care of him, and provided him with a less busy position. Occasionally, he sweated profusely in the vegetable garden, eliminating the troubles during preparation. The stomach disease caused by the postgraduate entrance examination was also relieved. Relatively speaking, the people in temples are purer and more willing to share with others. When you give kindness, you can also gain the kindness of others. For example, there are often senior brothers sharing my fruits and snacks, senior brothers greeting me from afar when they meet, senior brothers reminding me not to twist my waist when going out of the slope, working together, adding clothes slowly when it's cold, and senior brothers reminding me to wear thicker clothes. Once after rain, I went to the gate to pick up a package and saw a senior brother riding an electric bike but stopping at the entrance. At that time, I was still wondering why I parked early just to say hello to me. Later on, I found out that my senior brother was worried that riding over directly would splash water on me, so he waited for me to walk away a few meters before riding away. In addition, the people in the temple are more optimistic. During the epidemic, closing the temple was a common occurrence. One time during a Buddhist ceremony, pilgrims from outside couldn't come in, while the temple volunteers inside were busy. I was the only one who attended. At the beginning of the Dharma meeting, a master saw me, and was so happy that he blurted out, "There's still one more." When I shared this experience with a friend, they said that if it were left outside, this sentence might be, "There's only one." Why do I come to the temple to experience life? This is an unavoidable issue. A friend was worried that I was suffering from depression while working in the media, so they came to see me and saw me happily before returning with peace of mind. Some friends think that I have suffered a setback in my relationship. Indeed, it is regrettable that a campus romance that started in college did not end, but the two of us have worked together for many years to achieve a better each other. Isn't it good to have such a fulfilling time? If you insist on delving deeper, I can only throw out one sentence, which may have originated from a thought in high school. My ancestral home is Tianshui, Gansu, where there is Magician Grottos, one of the 4 major grottos in China. My great-grandfather participated in the imperial examination when he was young, and later returned to his hometown to establish a new style school. In his old age, he converted to the 3 treasures, and with friends, he created a layman's forest covering the 14 counties of Longnan. Perhaps due to environmental and genetic factors, during high school, when other classmates were focused on solving problems and pursuing high scores, I became addicted to philosophy and began to contemplate my future and the meaning of life. At that time, my father would occasionally take me to visit a temple in my hometown, not to burn incense or worship Buddha, but to visit a master and fellow villager. In the temple, I was attracted by this tranquility. Occasionally, when I flipped through the scriptures, although I was confused about the content, a thought flashed through me: if only I could go to the temple for a few years around the age of 30. In my sophomore year, I was introduced by my aunt to participate in meditation at this temple in Zhejiang. The teacher taught us some Buddhist knowledge, led us in meditation, and repentance, and answered questions about the problems we encountered in secular life. During those 3 days, I felt both physically and mentally happy. At the end of my meditation, there was both the small reluctance to leave the temple and the joy of adjusting my mind and body before starting again. After graduating from university, I became a Beijing drifter and became a media person. I consciously used my words to promote the progress of reality and help others, which is also a compassionate practice of Li Lu. At the beginning of 2020, the COVID-19 was rampant. I lived in Beijing and worked for nearly 3 months. Gradually, I became eccentric and accumulated a lot of negative energy. However, the way of relief was very limited, which made me want to relax and experience a different life. Turning around until 2021, I stumbled upon a recruitment opportunity for a suitable library position at the temple where I had previously meditated. At the time of breaking up with my ex-girlfriend, I felt that I had lost the responsibility of being a boyfriend, and my parents and elders were in good health with no worries. Therefore, I made up my mind to enter the temple and start a new experience. I only informed my father after submitting my resignation to my original employer. At first, he was shocked and puzzled, but he did not strongly oppose it. In the end, he left me a message: as long as you do something beneficial to society, as long as you like it, I will not oppose it. If you have a good idea, I will boldly move forward. I don't know how he convinced himself that day and ultimately respected my decision. I know there must be people who ask, is this an escape? This may be the question that more people want to ask but feel embarrassed to ask. Some people always believe that those who come to the temple are failures. In fact, I have also asked myself, are you avoiding something? Before a morning class, my master and I were meditating outside the main hall. Amidst the sound of bells and drums, mixed with the sound of trucks coming from afar, the world of mortals told me that they were both close and far away, and that the distance between a courtyard wall and a heart was also a distance. I immediately felt relieved and didn't think about this issue. Because I really didn't lie flat and waste my time, and I was also reading and studying in the temple. In ancient times, scholars also often lived and studied in the temple, didn't they? Buddhism is often considered to be lying flat, and I think this is somewhat misunderstood. Although Buddhism emphasizes the importance of being worldly, it also hopes that everyone can enter the world with the heart of being worldly. Life is impermanent, and if something can be accomplished, it must be achieved through favorable timing, geography, and human harmony, which is what Buddhism calls the combination of fate and cause. However, fate does not mean indifference, but rather through hard work and effort, one can achieve success through fate. From a different perspective, even by external standards, our temple is not a lying flat world. With the development of the times, the understanding of temples is still limited to blue lanterns and ancient Buddha, which is obviously not enough. Our temple values public education and offers various courses. Rather than being a religious venue, it is more like a community university. Here, I can hear Professor Wang Leichuan from Fudan University giving lectures, learn about new media innovation from the teachers at the Antai School of Business at Jiaotong University, and listen to executives from listed companies sharing how to build efficient teams. I once joked on my social media that I have been in a temple for 5,000 years, studying Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism, and can learn both Eastern and Western things. My father left a comment saying, having a deep understanding of both Chinese and Western cultures, enriching oneself, and enjoying happiness and happiness. In my opinion, whether to enter or leave the world is a personal choice, there is no right or wrong. The taste of the world is pure joy, is a kind of life, and indulging in the prosperity of the world is also a kind of life. A diversified society should tolerate and respect individual choices.